Hey guys, Ken here from the Retro Toys Capades channel in Malaysia. Some really huge news has come in, one that's shaken up the entire Retro Toys community worldwide. M.A.S.K, the 80s toy and cartoon phenomenon, is scheduled to make a comeback with a new line of toys and action figures from manufacturers The Loyal Subjects, slated for release in 2025. There was a period of time in the 80s when I was completely obsessed with M.A.S.K. This was a world where illusion was the ultimate weapon. Ordinary vehicles would convert into combat machines at the press of just a button. You would have the Thunderhawk, a cool 1985 Camaro that could transform from a sports car to a fighter jet through spring-activated pop-up doors. Or the Switchblade, a recon helicopter that converts to a fearsome fighter jet with just a few quick steps. M.A.S.K was not as big as the other brands of the 80s, such as He-Man, Thundercats, G.I. Joe, or the Transformers, but it was the biggest in the category of second-tier 80s pop culture franchises. The toy line ran for 4 years between 1985 to 1988, and it was backed by a long-running cartoon series that remained in syndication worldwide for many years after the toys faded from shelves. There was also a memorable run of comics published both in the US by DC Comics and in the UK by IPC and Fleetway Publications. So now, the Loyal Subjects have announced that they have the license to produce new toys for M.A.S.K. According to the statement from the company's CEO, as published in the recent edition of Toy Book magazine, M.A.S.K has all the crazy features: vehicles, small figures with removable helmets, closed box packaging with that killer product shots, all coming back. They're in the same scale, and we're serving it hot and fresh, like 85 never left. Guys, just tell me if that statement energizes all of you, okay? Now, let's examine some of the things that he said here. First of all, they acknowledged the crazy fun action features that these toys came with and promised that the new ones would have them as well. Guys, that's fantastic, and let's face it, the action features on these toys were a total blast. Also to be included are the original figures and vehicle operators and their cool, removable masks. And their guarantee as well is that the toys will retain the look of the original 80s packaging with the mesmerizing artwork in the front, plus all of the sensational product shots that covered all corners of the box, with my favorite being the blueprint-style vehicle photography on the back. Lastly, and this is especially interesting, the vehicles all promise to be the same scale as the originals. How about that? Which means that the new toys will be able to stand side by side with the vintage versions. So, if you never had a chance to own them when you were a kid, you now finally can, and without having to burn your time and wallets hunting for these on secondary markets on eBay. But I'm just speculating at this time, right? As there's no telling if the new stuff is going to be any easier for collectors to find at retail. When the M.A.S.K action figures first came out, they were some of the smallest posable figures ever released at 2 inches in height, and sometimes you would have situations where some of the other figures within the same line were even smaller. So all of the vehicles would be built around this scale. And I know that a lot of people have been hoping that a new range of M.A.S.K toys would be around the 3.75-inch scale so that they would at least be able to be displayed alongside their G.I. Joe and Star Wars collection figures and have the universes interact. But sadly, other than the specialist tracker figure that Hasbro put out all the way back in 2008, I don't think that we'll be seeing 3.75-inch scale M.A.S.K figures anytime soon, but who knows, right? Also, since the 6-inch scale is currently the rage across the majority of franchises out there, a lot of people have also hoped that there will be a possibility for M.A.S.K to be reborn in this scale. It's certainly possible, but probably don't hold your breath to see 6-inch scale vehicles anytime soon. The figures, probably sure, but the vehicles, look, the cost for something like that would probably require every single vehicle release to be crowdfunded. So I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. But seeing M.A.S.K being licensed in this way now also opens up the doors for other companies to try and offer the products in different sizes and interpretations. Last year, Ramen Toy put out their blockbuster Thunderhawk homage release titled The Red Gullwing. It proved to be a global sellout success, sending collectors into a frenzy. And even today, a year later, people are still trying to track down units of this to be added to their collections. A further testament to the undying cult popularity of the M.A.S.K brand. Ramen Toys The Red Gullwing was inspired by the original Thunderhawk, but it is not a replica as how the loyal subjects seem to be approaching their planned mass releases. The Red Gullwing was a premium collectible release aimed for the adult collectors market and featured a vehicle design that was larger than the original Thunderhawk, and which also came with multiple additional features and special new action functions for the transformation process. Now for fans, the Red Gullwing gave them a taste of what a modern-day Thunderhawk model would look, feel, and operate like. I'm actually surprised that the loyal subjects have landed the license to execute the return of M.A.S.K to toy shelves. My early exposure to their products over all these years has been through the one corner of the toy department that they used to occupy here in Malaysia with all of their blind box vinyl figure offerings. And they have had a lot of pop culture tie-ins out there, ranging from He-Man to Transformers, TMNT, Alien and Predator, the list goes on. I did get the He-Man and Skeletor figures they did a few years ago, and I will say that they do have an eye for quality as the figures are very well made for what they are, essentially hyper-stylized, oversized head renditions of your favorite characters in a way that Funko is already doing them, but just with more articulation and accessories. But I have not seen anything in their back catalogue that suggested any sort of expertise in the larger scale toy vehicle market. So it will be interesting to see what they are planning with M.A.S.K. Now, one of the reasons they also likely got this lucrative deal sealed with Hasbro is because they have also committed to bring back a whole bunch of other legacy brands as well. Not just M.A.S.K, but also Gem and the Holograms, My Buddy, Popples, My Pet Monster, and Rom, the Space Knight. Definitely retro stuff, but also risky as all of these properties have very limited and niche appeal when it comes to merchandising in today's generation. And that brings me to the next question. Why doesn't Hasbro just release the M.A.S.K line themselves? Do they feel that it's something that's too risky? Or do they not have anyone passionate enough on their team to pursue this like the loyal subjects and Ramen Toy have? In any event, Hasbro have already shown us what an excellent job they can do with something like the Real Ghostbusters Retro Series. Okay, so the Real Ghostbusters toys came out in 1986, and at the time, it was one of Kenner's biggest hits of the era, along with M.A.S.K. When Hasbro did the retro re-release in 2020, they replicated everything about the original figure presentations, the large card backs, the artwork, the positioning of the figures and accessories when they were sealed on card. They even included the original Kenner branding. But these are not the exact same figures as those from the 80s. They are in fact all new sculpts that are intended to replicate the look of the originals. And if you observe closely enough, you will in fact see the differences in all of the figures. So that is likely how the loyal subjects intend to approach the M.A.S.K license as well, by giving us new sculpts that are almost exact replicas of the original figures and vehicles. And I have to say I'm definitely very curious to see how the vehicle operation features on the new toys will be like. I definitely expect the plastic quality to be a lot stronger on the new toys compared to the Kenner stuff, which was pretty fragile back in the day. And also I do wonder, will the transformation sequences work with the same effectiveness as the originals? I would be honestly surprised if the missiles still fired with so much spring-loaded force on these new vehicles. With all of today's toy safety standards, I would say probably not, okay? And some of the old M.A.S.K toys had missiles that would shoot all the way across the room when they were fired. Also, the firing mechanisms can sometimes be so sensitive that the slightest nudge can send the projectile shooting straight off into the stratosphere, okay? Guys, I want to know what you think of the return of M.A.S.K toys in 2025. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and share it out there. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll catch you guys again real soon with more content right here.